What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. I'm your girl, Lady, and the chef, joined by my co-host.
D Blocks 21.
How's everybody doing today? How you doing?
I'm doing okay. Excited for tomorrow's game. We're coming off that two game win streak, and we're going for win number three. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Yeah, my predictions were the Knicks were going to go 3 games for this week. So I think, the Knicks should be able to do it. I hope that they get the third win. I know it's an early game, and typically when the Knicks play an early game, they do not play well. They seem to, I don't know, I guess from the rest, and maybe because the combination of the rest in between the games, and then the game starting earlier in the day tends to not work in the Knicks' favor. And the Knicks tend to not play well. But I hope that, that's not the case tomorrow, and the energy is there, and guys are ready to just play the game, get the W, so you can rest and get ready for Monday when the Knicks play against Boston. Um, Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, I said the same thing, and Nick's gotta, keep in mind that the Hornets won their last game. They beat the Wizards, so they're both coming off a high and a win. So, that's fuel for the adrenaline for both teams. So the Knicks just have to just you know tap into their strength and weakness, for the most part, because all teams have it, you know. Um, so that's if they could just hold them, there's a few things that they can do, to the Hornet, to disrupt their game.
Yeah, Charlotte actually is not starting the season off too well. I know they're currently sitting at 11th place. And they beat Washington the other day, but they lost to Washington the game prior. So they played Washington on a back-to-back game. Um, so I know that they pretty much got revenge on that last Washington game that they played against them.
Yeah,
So I feel like the Knicks have won 2 in a row now, so it's like a matter of what are the Knicks gonna do to beat them so that way you make it 3 in a row. Um, the Knicks are currently sitting at 4-4. They're in the 7th place in the seed standings in the East. And
actually they're in
Charlotte,
six. I just checked, they're in six.
oh, they're in 6. I thought it was 6, and then I don't know, somehow they moved to 7th. I don't know if it's because someone played, but
Oh, okay, could be.
yeah, I think they slid them into 7th. But the Charlotte Hornets are sitting at 11th place in the
Right.
standings. So they're struggling right now. Their season hasn't started off the greatest. I know they have a couple of like side Charlotte has a couple of side player legal woes that are going on between Balls getting sued. Not him personally, but I guess the whole Big Baller brand getting sued for over 200 million. And then you have their other player who he's been in and out of courts for his whole situation going on, Bridges.
Yeah,
So I think
he's
he's a key player for them also, but it just sucks, when you have things like that going on. You can't even be an asset to the team when you have. And also, the league just doesn't want things like that happening throughout the league. They don't want players who's having problems like that being a part of any team. So
Mhm.
I think with the Knicks playing Charlotte, this is not a strong contending team, but it's also not a team you want to sleep on. So I think that the Knicks really need to come in with their A game. Don't come in laxed. Um, and I feel like they should just have that mentality of getting the job done because you have next week a 5 game stretch. Well, actually, tomorrow's game is part of the 5 games. It starts the 5 game stretch for them. But and these are against tough teams. And one of those games is the in season tournament game, which we'll touch on later. But is there anything for you in particular that you feel like the Knicks need to do? Any key things that the Knicks need to do to win that game tomorrow?
Well, Charlotte, one of their strengths, they're They're a high transition, their offense is very high. They're young for the most part. They have a lot of young guys that are on their team. So, again, they like to run and, run out in transition. Um, you know, they're gonna run. And they're known to share the ball. Um, so again, seems like everybody gets a touch. They have, wing and forward depth, so they have those guys that, can defend. And so my thing is, what can the Knicks do? And your opinion and your estimation, what do you think the Knicks can do, to hold Charlotte and also slow down their transition D? What do you think that as a whole the Knicks can do to slow down Charlotte?
Well, definitely the Knicks need to be able to guard the perimeter for the 3-point shooting. And Charlotte's also one of those teams that are going to drive. So a lot
Yeah,
more of those guys are going to drive the ball to the basket. So I think the Knicks have to be locked in on defense, for sure. I think that Mitch is going to do what he needs to do as far as rebounding and guarding the paint. But the other guys, the guards, your Jalen Brunson need to be on because I'm sure he's going to be on LaMelo Ball or maybe I would say Grimes between those two.
yeah,
Um, and then, I think that they definitely need to make sure that they don't give Charlotte any easy baskets. Because you don't want to make it easy where these guys are just going in, shooting floaters, or getting easy
mhm,
layups. They're getting threes, and then they start getting hot and going to run. So I would like to see the Knicks definitely own in on the defense, guard the middle and the paint, guard the perimeter shooting from Charlotte, and you know I don't want the Knicks to get confused with Charlotte's ball movement. If they're moving the ball around, then the Knicks get confused and one guy loses his man and now they get an easy basket. So I think communicating on the defensive end is going to be key for the Knicks. If you're switching because of the way the screens are set, they need to
yeah.
talk to each other to make sure that they're covering, but at the same time not leaving their man because they're going to help the next guy. And now you're doubling on one guy, which is a thing that the Knicks tend to do and hurts us at the end of the day. So for me, it's definitely going to be the defense. And then on the offensive end, the Knicks need to be locked in as far as shooting. That's been one of our woes is being a good shooting team. So if we can have our key three guys locked in between RJ, Randall, and Brunson, and then get the second unit also nice and hot as they have been, I think the Knicks will be okay, truly, but it's gonna be it starts on the defensive end for me.
Yeah, because Charlotte, I mean, our bench seems to be deeper than theirs.
Yeah,
They have a few players that are out, that key players at that. Rozier, I think he's out. Like you said, Bridges, he's has some legal woes. He was suspended for like the first 10 games of the season. I think Haywood, he's I think a day to day. Um, so and their bench, but they have a bench guy Haywood. Again, I think he's day to day, but he's up there in the upper echelon. Rozier. So our bench seems to be deeper. To the plus for the Hornets. They they have some guys collectively, like they're shooting over 70% from the free throw line. So,
yeah,
as a whole for the Knicks, they have to, it's going to be a lot of boxing out. If they have those high percentage guys that shooting free throws, that's to their advantage.
yeah,
We did pick it up, but there's still some struggles at the free throw line for the Knicks. Um, so that's something they're gonna have to contend with. Um, so we, I'm expecting us to take this game overall. Um,
yeah. This is a team that's part of those list of teams that the Knicks need to beat. These are teams you're expected
yeah,
to beat, and I think Charlotte. It's like playing Detroit. Like you should be beating teams like this. There shouldn't be like it's a close game and and when Charlotte beat Washington, that was a close game. I think it was like 117 to like 124.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
it wasn't like they won by much. And Washington's also another team that's struggling and they haven't been doing well also. I think they've only won like 2 games.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And,
with the Knicks, they need to be able to beat this game because you want to continue the momentum. And I think the momentum is going to be key with these upcoming games as well. And that the Knicks want to be able to get these games because you have a tough road ahead. So I think focus on tomorrow's game. It's an early game, but get the job done. And then now it's time to really lock in when you start that road trip on Monday when you play Boston and then you play again on Wednesday. I think the Knicks play Atlanta on Wednesday. And then next Friday they play Washington, which is their their next in season tournament game.
yeah.
So, which I expect the Knicks to win that game. I would say at least Wednesday's game against Atlanta and Friday against Washington. I expect the Knicks to win those 2 games.
For sure, but again, like I always say, no game is given. You have to go out there and play and earn it, and take it for that matter. So, no team is gonna lie down and let you just take the game. It's gonna be a fight night in and night out. That's my take on it. Yeah, so the Knicks, they just got just, take care of business. They're on a positive note. We did, and as a positive note, we did rose up in the standings from 16 to 12. So that's a momentum boost. Anytime when you could get you're on a high and a positive, you use that for fuel to elevate your game.
Yeah.
So Julius seems to be, I guess the ankle issue's been addressed. Hopefully that can, help them move forward. Got that out the way. Um, so that's those are just key things that they can do. Um, like you said, you tapped in some things with the what the Knicks can do. You know, again, you like disrupt the transition defense because they are known, again, they're known for their defensive prowess as well. Um, so those are key things that they can do, and hopefully the Knicks can get that win.
Yeah, I saw an article about Julius Randle speaking about how he's only at 70% due to the ankle surgery that he had. And a reporter went out to Greenberg and went to their practice, and he practiced this past weekend. And he asked Randall, um, basically, did he think that he was going to be at 100%?
Hmm.
And Randall basically said, that's naive to think that, and doctors and medical staff, basically told Randall he should sit on the bench. But Randall basically was like, no, I'm going to play.
Hmm.
But they're going to
Yeah.
be monitoring him in case of, just to make sure he doesn't re injure himself. Um, so do you think that that's smart on Randall's behalf to play, or do you think that Randall should maybe, if he plays, for example, like Monday's game against Boston, but then maybe sit out on Wednesday? Do you think that they should pick and choose games that they have him sit out, or is it a good idea that he's actually like being a soldier and going out there to play?
Well, to me, if they could limit his minutes, they can, also try that. He's against that load management, so he figure if I can go out there and play and contribute, then that's what I'm gonna do. Um, you know, I I feel he should, but with limited minutes. I don't think it's wise for him to go out there and try to do 35, 38 minutes. I mean, I think that that's foolish, or that's my opinion. Um, if he can play, why not?
But do you think that playing Randall limited minutes will hurt the Knicks? Because there may be some games that maybe we need Randall, and then you may look like, well, Tibbs only played him maybe 28, 30 minutes. But if we would have played him maybe 35 to 40 or 38 minutes, that maybe could have made a difference of him scoring more baskets. So do you think that that can hurt the Knicks in certain instances on certain nights playing by limiting his minutes?
Well, it to me, it's a game by game, decision. You know, for case in point, Charlotte, I think that he should, if we can sustain the lead, you
Mhm.
get a nice cushion, of course, sit him out. You know, I mean, no win is easy because again, you still have to fight and for every possession and loose balls and so forth. But you know, it's a game by game decision. Now, Boston, maybe that will change because Boston, because of their style of play, they're what 6-2 or something. But again, standards, it's early. But to me, I feel it's a game by game decision. Um, come Atlanta Wednesday, maybe so. You could give him limited minutes, but again, if he's able to play and contribute, I'm all for it. I'm all in. So I
Yeah,
don't think that will necessarily hurt them. Now, if he's struggling, then that's a different thing.
yeah.
So again, it's to me, it's a 50-50. But if he's able to contribute, why not?
My only issue with that is sometimes with Tibbs, the Knicks could have a 15, 20 point lead in the fourth, and Tibbs will still play Randall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I
yeah.
mean, and
That's
especially if it's maybe like 5, 6 minutes left, like just put Randall on the bench. Like let him get some rest, and you should trust that that second unit. I think it's a two-way factor. Like, yeah, you have to be able to trust the second unit, but the second unit also needs to prove that they can maintain the lead and close out the game and still get us the W and not start to play sloppy with tips like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like maybe I should keep Brunson and Randall and RJ in longer, like quickly I can understand keeping him in, you know. Josh Hart, I could see him being in. DiVincenzo. I'm hoping DiVincenzo could bring us a nice amount of points in tomorrow's game with the 3-point shot. And heck, I'll even take Grimes if Grimes could come in with some energy and give us what we
Mhm.
need. So I think that that's my only thing when it comes to like Tibbs sitting the prime guys down in the fourth. Sometimes he'll still play them and you're like, why? It's like 4 minutes left in the fourth. Why are you playing them instead of sitting them out, on the bench? But I agree with you. I think that if he can take it game by game, in some games, I think, yeah, you should limit Randall's minutes just to because we're gonna need him. It's a long season. You don't want him to re-injure, which I'm still no one's gonna change my thoughts on how he got that ankle injury. That was Bam, and it was
Good.
intentional. No, for real. If we replay the tape, Randall did come down on his foot, but then Bam in one of the games, he purposely stepped on Randall's ankle. And you know how I'm always getting on Randall.
Yeah.
Bam stepped on his foot like it was a bug he was trying to kill. And he like, it's like he wanted him to be down. That was remember the second time he had reheard it because he got
Yeah.
it
Well,
aggravated. But
mm,
I just feel like, Randall has to be careful because we need him throughout the season. He's a key guy that the Knicks are gonna need. I mean, do you think that the Knicks Randall makes a difference being in? Or do you think that the Knicks could still be contenders if Randall was out throughout the season?
well, he definitely makes a difference. But I also feel that yeah, that we can be contenders. I think that it makes the fight harder.
Mhm.
Um, and that hill is much steeper to climb. Because he does make a difference. Yeah, but it's doable without him. At the same time. Um, so I believe that we can still be contenders, but it's a plus if he's on the floor.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, okay, the Knicks play Charlotte tomorrow at 12. Then the Knicks play, we head to Boston and play on Monday. Um, what do you think it's going to take for the Knicks to actually beat the Celtics? And even if it's not a pretty win, but what is it going to take for the Knicks to beat them? Because they are a really good team. Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, these guys are really good. And I just think that the Celtics have those extra added pieces now. They have Porzingis, who can shoot the three. He can shoot the mid range. He could rebound. He could dunk. Um, you know, what is it going to take for the Knicks to be able to pull off that win and not be one of those teams? It's Boston. We have an issue and we can't beat them.
Well, like with any team, I always say, you gotta w- disrupt any team's transition defense. Um, Attack the glass. Guard the perimeter. Because like you said, Porzingis, he can hit that three. I mean, he's improved his efficiency rating. Tatum. And then now you got Holiday. That's another added threat. For the most part, you gotta guard those things, and um just and with us, our offense seems to be clicking. Well, don't defer from that. You were sharing the ball, continue to do that. Um, your 3 pointers. I mean, again, I'm not so we're kind of high with the threes. We're not, we're not that efficient. If we could minimize that, our turnovers. So it's just those little things, the nuances that we could just tighten up. We can beat Boston.
Yeah, I agreed. I think one of the key things that you said was the turnovers. The
Oh
Knicks
yeah.
have to learn to limit their turnovers because when they don't turn over the ball a lot, the Knicks tend to have more points. And they just play a better overall game. The last time we played Boston was in preseason. The Knicks lost 110-123. And I just think that the Knicks didn't have an answer for
No,
Tatum,
no.
who did whatever he wanted. Porzingis did whatever he wanted. So I think the Knicks are going to have to learn how to, when you go against those higher caliber, more skill set teams, you have to be able to stop them. I watched in season tournament game against Phoenix and Los Angeles, and that was a really good game because at one point um, in the first half, LA did really well, and then in the second half, KD went off because Devin Booker was on the bench.
Oh
So
yeah.
KD went off, and I just thought to myself, I said, "There's good defense on him." And you know who else surprisingly did really well, and they wasn't guarding him?
Oh,
Cam Reddish. Cam
oh,
Reddish kept making those corner threes for LA, and he kept them in that game. He had to have made at least 5, 6 threes. I didn't check
wow.
the full stats, but Cam was on a roll. And it made me think, as far as with the Knicks, I think sometimes with guys, case in point, like Fournier, who we were talking about last episode, it's not to say that you trash and you're not good. Some players are genuinely good, and I always thought Cam Reddish was a good player. He
Hmm.
just wasn't a fit for Tibbs' offense.
Yeah.
And I think Tibbs just didn't care for him. And sometimes, in sports, when a coach doesn't really care for you, they're not going to really give you burn like that. And maybe there was other things that happened behind the scenes that we don't know about. Maybe in the practice, whatever the case may be. Maybe he went to
Yeah.
his office, spoke to him, Tibbs didn't like it, whatever. But Cam to me showed those signs like he can make a move and score, but
Hmm.
Tibbs
Yeah.
just wasn't giving him any burn. You know what I mean? He was
Hmm.
riding the bench. He was giving him a sprinkle of minutes here and there. But when I watched him play last night, he wasn't he fell right into the offense. He because Reeves was quiet. So he didn't really turn it on. And actually, he carried them in that fourth quarter with hitting a lot of his shots. But LeBron was doing LeBron things. You couldn't stop that freight train. He was just holding them down the whole game. But
Yeah.
KD was just keeping the Suns in that game. I was like, wow, they're playing good defense on him, but it was just better offense. He's just a great scorer. But the Suns came within close of that game, but LA was able to hold on, and that was kudos to Reeves and LeBron. And AD hit a couple of key baskets for them and had a nice couple of blocks in the fourth quarter. But it got to a close game because the Lakers were down the whole game and they was always only within 5 or 6 points, but they didn't let the Suns go up by 10, 12. They kept it close. And the reason why I brought that up is because I think that's key for the Knicks. You can't allow teams where you only down by maybe 4, 5, 6, and now you're down by 10, 13, 16 points. It's hard to climb back in that, especially when you're deep in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, yeah,
So when you play against Boston on Monday, you don't want them to go on this run where now, even if it is the start of the fourth, you can climb back in it, but you don't want it to get down to the last 5 or 6 minutes and now you down by 13, 14. And what helped LA was that they were knocking down their threes. So they were able to get back in that game and just keep knocking down threes, knocking down threes.
yeah,
And that does help a lot of times. But in my case, I don't like if you're knocking them down, great. But if you're not, that's when you got to know to be like, okay, let me drive. Let me try to get them to foul me so I can stop the clock and make my free throws, which is key for the Knicks.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
sometimes we'll make the right move and we don't necessarily get the and one, or sometimes we get the and one, but then these guys are not hitting their free throw shots. So I think when the Knicks play Boston, the defense is definitely going to be key. I think that Mitch, you shouldn't even allow Porzingis to even touch the ball. I would be front facing him, denying him the ball, not allowing him to get a lot of touches. And
yeah,
Tatum is just very good. He's just one of those great offensive players, but I'm sure maybe Grimes is going to be guarding him, but you don't want to leave him any space because he could create one on one and then he could shoot from the
yeah,
outside.
yeah, Tatum,
So it's going
yeah.
to be hard to, and then with Jalen Brown, it's the same thing. He's a drive machine. He's going to drive to that basket
Yeah,
and go to score. So I think the Knicks are really just going to have to focus on making sure their defense is really crisp and that the shooters are shooting and you're knocking down shots. I think the ball movement is going to be key, and then moving without the players moving without the ball, because I think that's another thing that we suffer from is that the Knicks sometimes will move the ball, but sometimes the players aren't moving when they don't have the ball, so we're
yeah.
stagnant.
And we tend to, I guess collapse on the defensive end sometimes. We're known for our defense, but sometimes we do have those little collapse where now the teams are hitting threes and they're getting comfortable in their offensive set and
Mhm.
it's like we're playing catch up
Right.
or when another's a spear or something so you gotta make those guys take those uncomfortable shots. Don't let Porzingis get set. And now he's hitting the threes, and same thing with Tatum. Yeah, it's gonna be a tall task, but Grimes, he's gonna have to put that extra defensive effort in, and stick with him. That's what he's known for. Um, again, don't let him get comfortable, and throw some disruption in there.
Yeah, the Knicks are gonna have to watch also Drew Holiday, Derek White, Al Horford, and Sam Hauser, who had 15 points when we played them the last time, and also Peyton Pritchard, who had 11 points. So I think it's important that those other guys too, like especially Al Horford, he does a lot of the dirty work. He's a true veteran in the game. He's in
Oh yeah,
shape. He could shoot the three. He can rebound. He could give you a little bit of everything.
yeah, yeah,
He's
yeah.
not sloppy with the ball when he's dribbling it. So I think that it's going to be key that, again, we working with what we have, but the Knicks have to lock in. And, you're going to have to, I want to see quickly have a good game these next few games
Oh,
against Charlotte tomorrow and then on Monday. it's important that quickly steps up and gives us a nice amount. And again, I'm still looking for Grimes to have that consistency in these games and not just give us, 7, 8 points.
Yeah, I'm
That's
I'm
just
definitely, looking forward to Grimes, giving us, he had that one breakout game, but
yeah,
since then he's
17.
just fallen back. Again, I don't know, what is it? If is it confidence? Just the shots not falling, which they aren't. But that road trip, we do tend to play better on the road. Um, so, maybe that can help him. But he's definitely due for, at least a 2, 3 game, spurt where he can give us some points as well as those minutes that he's playing because he's playing significant amount of minutes. So that's not the
Yeah.
issue. Um, he's able to, getting the flow of the offense, although and there was some chatter again about he's everybody's always, crying about touches and things like that. But, hopefully this road trip, can put a spark in him.
It was chatter about what though?
No, about Grimes, like his touches, and not so much as him getting the ball, but just I guess like his spot or whatever, you know.
But why do you think that Grimes isn't getting enough touches, as they say? Do you think it's Grimes, or do you think if you're like a Randall, Quickly, Brunson, you play basketball, I play basketball. Your players on your team who they gonna be money and they can make that jumper. And then you know how some guys who may be on the team maybe 1, 2 years and you like, nah, he may not hit that shot. So do you think that it's Grimes just not being efficient, or do you think that it's other guys on the team, Brunson, Quickly, when they have the ball, these guys, Randall sometimes are like, nah, I'm going to just take it or I'm going to pass it to RJ or whoever because I know they may make it more than Grimes. What do you think it is?
I think it's mainly Grimes. Is again, like I said, I don't know if it's a confidence thing with him, where he's holding himself back, and for whatever reason, again, I always say, you know, nobody's, responsible for your lack of poor shooting. You got to take ownership for that. So I think it's just, him just the shots are just not falling for whatever reason. Again, the struggles are there. Um, you know, so I think the onus is on him. Um,
Yeah, I agree. Because a lot of times, there's a lot of instances to me where Grimes is open.
yeah,
Even if it's not at the 3-point line and it's like a little bit above the 3-point line, Grimes is open. And sometimes other guys aren't contesting him. And then sometimes they're trying to run out to try to contest his shot. But to me, I was saying this on Dope Soul Sports Talk on when I was on Thursday's episode. Shout out to Queen for having me on, Jeff Clafter, um,
Ajay, right?
Ajay, and to Jarrell. And the whole MBK family. Shout out to everybody over there. But always a good time. But and they actually asked about you too when it was over. Jarrell was like, "Yo, where's your mom?" I was like, "Oh, I think because we went on too late." He was like, "Oh," but Steph was like, "She could always come on." I said, "Yeah, I'll tell her even if she wants to join." Steph was like, "Yeah, even if it's just for a little bit, she could totally join and come on." So they always have the open invite for us. But shout out to them and for helping promote our channel. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of games where I see that Grimes is open and either Grimes is passing the ball or he's not making it. And Grimes' shot reminds me of RJ the last 2 seasons where RJ was shooting shots. And remember, they just was hitting like the side of the rim, like inside of the rim and popping out, or they was hitting
Yeah,
like the back of the little square part of the rim or the front of the rim because there wasn't enough arc. Grimes is going through those shooting woes that RJ went through, where RJ a lot of times would be open or he was able to get himself open, but he just wasn't knocking down the shots. Grimes is going through the same thing. He can't knock down a shot. And I think that Grimes needs to just really work on putting up, I don't know, however many, 100 shots a day in the off season. He needs to find his rhythm and find a better flow of how he's going to release the ball quickly and work on drills like that because I think Grimes needs to also learn how to develop some ball handling skills because Grimes is one of those players. Here's the thing: if you don't have good ball handling skills, but you one of those guys that's going to be catch and shoot, then you need to be able to shoot the ball. Grimes doesn't have that
Yeah.
skill set yet, so then you need to be able to know how to have ball handling skills to free yourself up to be able to get to the basket. So I
Mm.
agree with you. I think a lot of it is Grimes. He's just off. And I don't think it's, oh, he's just off. It's a couple of games like how Randall was, or maybe Brunson is off a little. I don't think it's that. I just think this is going to carry throughout the whole season. And it's not me being negative, it's me being realistic. And from what I've seen with Grimes, it's the same thing we saw the last two
Yeah.
seasons.
I mean, you got to realize we're 8 games into the season. This is tomorrow's going to be our ninth game. We're
Right,
4-4. He's had one decent game
right,
out of eight.
right.
That's just not going to cut it and hold up for the season. You
Yeah,
know, what you're going to have 20 at a 82 game season. You're going to have maybe a 20 at that rate.
right.
So again, that's on him. I don't know what he needs to do to step it up. You know,
I think it's going to take the off season. It's not much Grimes could do now. You know what I mean? Like, there's not going to be some major shift that's gonna happen even after
yeah,
the All-Star break, and again, this is not me being a negative Nancy, it's just me being realistic here. Grimes is gonna have to really on the offseason work on his shot, and this is why I say DiVincenzo is eventually gonna take his minutes because 'cause they're playing about the same amount of minutes, but DiVincenzo could get the ball through the basket. That's the
yeah,
difference. He can knock down shots. Grimes, DiVincenzo may have a couple of game here and there where he's off, but his percentage is gonna be a lot higher.
yeah, and his
Grimes is
production.
truly struggling to shoot that ball and get the
Mhm.
ball down, and like I said, if you're just gonna be a catch and shoot, you gotta be able to make it.
Yeah,
I don't think it's also necessarily just to blame Tibbs and that you know how I feel about Tibbs creating plays for guys to be able to come around and set up plays for them to maybe do a quick fake and then they have a double screen and they could catch the ball and shoot or come around the whole curl
yeah,
and shoot. I don't really see a lot of plays like that for guys who are shooters. Just like I think Tibbs doesn't even want iHeart shooting a three, which we know he can do, but again, that's probably Tibbs and a coaching staff telling him not to. But as far as Grimes goes, Grimes is gonna have to work on that in the offseason. Like truly work on that.
yeah, yeah.
Because if not, he's just gonna be mediocre. And to me, I feel like Grimes is one of those guys I wouldn't mind trading. He could
Oh,
go
for
as far as
sure.
I'm concerned because you don't really contribute much just besides on the defensive end, and that's not enough.
Yeah. Well, we have to see. That spot is is hot. As far as for that position, and there's people to fill it. There's guys that can step in at any moment and take that spot from him. So let's hopefully he gets out that slump.
Yeah, I hope so. If not, I think the Knicks definitely, we still have a long road of games ahead of us, but the Knicks front office definitely needs to be prepared to make some solid moves and hopefully there's a really good player who's going to be available, and I
Yeah.
know unfortunately that comes with teams are going to be greedy and they're going to want a lot of our players, the Knicks key players for a mega superstar guy, not even a mega superstar guy, but a guy who's really good. But to me, if that player is worth it, if I'm the Knicks front office, part of the Knicks front office staff, I'm going to make that change. I wouldn't necessarily say I would want to give up like a lot of the key guys, but I
Mhm.
would totally, like we already know, and we both are in agreement. Quickly is gonna want to go because he wants to get the bag. But you
Yeah,
got to figure out a way to get, if that includes getting rid of Fournier, Grimes. I mean, even the low paying guys that you not like McBride, you're not gonna really pay him. Like, create some space on a
yeah,
salary cap for yourself and get rid of guys if you can. But they have to do something because this team right here is only gonna bring us but so far.
yeah. I believe that too, but you know, guess we have to wait and see how it plays out for the most part. You know, when we get to that, when we get, like to say, cross that bridge when you get there. But there's hopefully we can fill that spot. There's somebody that's available and he's not washed up. We know the Knicks, what they're known for. So let's
Yeah,
hope.
taking somebody who's injury prone and gonna sit on the bench and collect a fat
Exactly.
check. Um, so your predictions for tomorrow's game, you got them at a W or
Oh,
a
for
loss?
sure. I mean, yeah, yeah. I have them at a W, but you also got to realize, one of their strengths, outside their strength, they do have some pretty solid guards, and they want to run it. Um, but I'm still, predicting the Knicks to get a W. Um, I don't think it's not going to be easy. You can't, rely on or tap into their weakness. They like any team, they got strength,
Yeah.
so you got to tap into that.
Yeah, I have the Knicks for a W. I hope they don't disappoint me because I said 3 games this week.
Mhm.
So I have them winning tomorrow's game. And yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. We do need this win. And yeah, I think this would be great momentum with 3 games in a row of winning, bringing us into Monday's game. So yeah. But yeah, you have anything else before we get out of here?
No, just looking forward to the game.
Yeah, same. It's an early game. The Knicks play at 12.
Yeah.
So it's a nice, super duper early game, but there'll be other games on too. So be a nice football, basketball Sunday tomorrow. Um, but yeah, that's it for me today. Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, let's go next.
Yeah, let's
That's
go
all I want to
next.
say.
Um, but as always, thank you everybody for joining us on another episode of Two Knicks Chicks. As always, leave us a comment. We love responding to you all in comments. Like this video and subscribe. We appreciate all the new subscribers. And yeah, we're just going to keep bringing Knicks content. And it's a long season. And then look out for us on other sports podcasts out there on the YouTube community. So until next time, we out of here.